Hello, everybody. Hello. It's 7 o'clock. It's Monday morning. So here we are. Here we are to talk about business, to talk about winning in 2024, but indeed beyond 2024. So I'm going to try to share my screen here. And let's try that so we can start. So I'm hoping you can see my screen, what I'm sharing. Yes, I think we can. And all right, we are live, and here we are. Welcome. I want to welcome you to your masterclass. It's Master the Art of Building Wealth in 2024. And I was just saying, it's building wealth in 24 and beyond. What we're going to cover this evening is really information that is 100% transformative. It's information that I guarantee you will see in a few minutes that you don't see anywhere in any other training. It's not that I'm special. It's just that the information that we share is not being shared elsewhere. We have the tendency generally to focus on strategies. But when we look at strategies, we all know what to do. We all know what to do when we've gotten some training. We all know what to do in our industry. We all know how to do it, what we need to know. And yet, when we look at our knowledge is up here, our training and everything is here, but the results stay down here for most people, most companies. And this is what we're going to look into. I mean, why that happens. People are brilliant, get all kinds of training, but the results, like, we keep struggling to get the results up to the level of our knowledge. So therefore, I have 3 questions for you. Are you ready to get serious about your business? Now this may sound like an obvious question. Of course, we're serious about it. But I'm going to tell you this. I talk to people every day. And I couldn't tell you how many entrepreneurs who've told me, well, I left the 9 to 5, I wanted to have freedom and do what I want to do. But I'm struggling. My business I'm not selling. I don't know what's going on, and I'm not sure whether I will stay in. I mean, these are stories that if you pay attention, you also will hear that. People are not successful. Why? They have it in them, but it's not coming out. The other question I have is, are you sick of the same result? Are you sick and tired of the same results, same income, same level of sales, no growth? The same reason that we are talking about here, whether we are going to grow that business, it's the same thing. We have the potential, we have the knowledge, we have the time, the market is there, but yet only 2, 3, 4 people out of 100 are really successful. Why? That's what we're going to cover, basically. So are you ready to jumpstart your business and guarantee the future? Let's begin. I want to ask you to really focus on you for this next hour. Just focus on you and remove distractions and write down a goal. Write down a goal that you want to achieve that you haven't been able to achieve so far, and write it down just for 1 hour. This has the potential of changing your life. And this is me. I mean, I want to welcome you again to this masterclass, your masterclass. And I've been studying the psychology of the mind with my mentor Bob Proctor since 2006. And later I'm going to tell you how I got started. But Bob Proctor has been recognized as America's prosperity teacher. His teaching is really transformative. And I don't say that because I'm one of his students and I work with the Proctor Gallagher Institute. I say that because it's true. And you're going to find out that it's true. And before we get into the subject, I wanted to share a couple of this slide, actually, just the one, to share where that information is coming from. Far right is myself. The next person on my left, on my right on the screen, on my left that is Bob Proctor, white hair guy. And Bob started this business in 1961. He was 26 years old and he was a loser. He was not going anywhere. And he told us we can use that line because he says exactly, I was a loser and I was not going anywhere. I was going downhill, picking up speed. He said, you're allowed to say that because it's the truth. You see, we only talk about the truth here. I'm going to go a little fast, you will notice, because I have a lot of information that I want to share, but I want to make sure I get it all within this hour. Now, Bob Proctor was very fortunate to get mentored by Earl Nightingale, the guy in the middle. Earl Nightingale and his business partner, Lloyd Conant, really started this personal growth, personal development industry in recorded fashion as we know it today. Earl was a genius, really. He was very fortunate as well. His mentor was Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. I always like to say, no blasphemy, but Think and Grow Rich is considered the Bible of personal development, personal growth, the achievement of wealth, the science and psychology of wealth. Hill was mentored by Andrew Carnegie, the guy with a white beard. Carnegie came to America from Scotland. Very poor family. They actually kind of had to escape poverty there. They landed in Philadelphia. And at 8 years old, he was not in school. He was sweeping the floor of a steel mill, steel factory. This guy ended up owning the largest conglomerate of steel industries in the world, in America. Therefore, we can say in the world. He was the first you could consider billionaire in his days, early 1900s. So this is where all this knowledge, this wisdom, if you will, is coming from. And there's a lot of psychology and there's a lot of science in what we're going to be discussing. So what are the goals for this masterclass? What are the goals? I have a promise to make you before we even go through the goals. After this, when we've done with this webinar here, you will have a better understanding of you, of your mind, how it works, and you will understand why you get the results that you get. Despite all the knowledge, you may be successful a little bit, very successful, extremely successful, but you still are going to understand why it happens, why we get the results that we get, and how we can increase those results, improve those results. It's all in here. It has nothing to do with the marketplace or with the economy. You see, we want to understand, and one of the goals is how the 80-20 rule applies. The 80-20 rule is a real thing. It's been proven time and time again. But tonight I wanted to separate the 20 with 15 and 5, because the 80-20, 80% of entrepreneurs are really struggling. Over 80% of people are struggling in their daily lives. Don't take my word for it. Just look around. Look around. I broke the 20, 15 and 5 because really 4 or 5 people out of every 100 are really making it happen. And we want to understand how this applies. And we want to understand something that we call the knowing-doing gap. You see, the knowing is here. We have intentions, we have goals, we know what to do, how to do what we need to do, but the results stay down here. We need to elevate those results, and we're going to show you how to do that. The third goal of the masterclass is, how do we become the person we need to become to reach the top 5%? Because you need to become that person to get those better results. The person you are today has produced the result that you see in front of you. If you've been having the same result for the past 4 or 5 years, you've been staying as the same person. You haven't changed, improved, or grown. And there's good reasons for that. We're going to look into that as well. You need to become that person, and that person is already here. We need to get it out. We need to get it out. At the end of this masterclass, I'm going to make you an offer. Do you need to work with me? No. And I'm going to go over the reason why not, why you choose or why not to choose to work with me. We only work with people who are really committed, to really want to know what they want and are committed to achieve their goals. I learned that the hard way, and I'm going to explain that why. So you're going to go away, you're going to walk away with understanding how we move to that 5%, 80-20, but you want to go to the top, to the 5%. We're going to see how we close the knowing and doing gap, how you get from where you are to where you want to be, in other words. And you get your results are guaranteed because nobody will do it for you, but you understand why you're getting the results that you get. You will understand why you don't do the things that you know are getting you closer to your goals, and why you keep doing those things that are taking you away from those goals on your day-to-day life. Why do you keep doing those things that you know are keeping you away from your goals? This is a big one. And of course, we are going to look at, you're going to walk away with, how do we become that business owner, that person, that individual, to reach the level, that proverbial next level, whatever that means for you, to you. What does next level look like? And that's a decision that you make. I'm going to put a stick here so I can use my clicker. It makes it easy. Here we go. Now we're talking about results. Really, this is what we're talking about here. And as you can see in this slide, your results are always under construction. Why? Because we should never be satisfied with where we are. We should be happy with where we are, what we're getting. We should be grateful, but never satisfied. You know, dissatisfaction is a very creative state. Dissatisfaction gave us a better way to communicate. Dissatisfaction gave us, we used to do F this, control that, to move around on our screen on the laptop. Now we have a mouse. Dissatisfaction is a very creative state. It allows us to look for better ways to do things. Never settle. Keep your results always under construction. That's how we grow. That's how we grow. Now, we're talking about results. Do results just happen? I don't think you think results just happen. But how do results happen? How do results happen? Now, the theory behind results is simply results come from action. Logical, right? Action comes from behavior. The behavior that we have programmed, if you will, within us. Behavior happens from feeling attached to a thought. Now, don't pay attention too much to this. I'm saying you don't have to kind of get that to the point of you're going to see exactly what that means. What is thought, feeling, action? Where does that come from? But this is how the theory, if you will, behind results happen. And everything starts with a thought. Now, to understand results, we need to understand, where do thoughts come from? Thoughts come from the mind. And our results are based on our programming, a mental program that we call it a paradigm, that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. If you pay attention to what you're doing, you always do certain things in a certain way. We don't change those things. Almost all our behavior is habitual. You get out of bed every morning, you just move into action. You don't say, today is Monday, what do I do on Monday mornings? We don't do that. We just move into action. And we're not even thinking of our morning routine, we're just doing, and we are thinking of that bill that we didn't pay, that appointment that we are going to book for today. This is what we are going to be picking up on our way to work. Whatever it is, we're all over the place, but we're doing what we're doing habitually. We don't have to think consciously. Pay attention to what you're doing every morning. Pay attention to your driving. Once you know how to drive, you're not consciously driving. You're changing lanes, you're putting your signal, you're on the phone, but you're going. Who's doing the driving? The subconscious mind is doing that. We're going to get deep into subconscious mind in a minute. The subconscious mind is doing that. Same as you're breathing right now. You didn't even know you were breathing consciously. Now all of a sudden you're aware that you're breathing. Who's doing the breathing for you? Who's digesting your food? There's a part of your mind that is the powerful part, the larger part of your mind, is the subconscious mind. Now, to understand what we do and how we get results, we need to look at the mind. We need to understand how the mind works. So let's look at your mind and your paradigms. Remember, paradigm is a mental programming that dictates our behavior. We need to understand how that works for us to be able to change the way we look at things, to change our results. We don't need more information. We don't need more training. With what we already have, we can double our effectiveness, double our income. And that's not an exaggeration. I can show you how to double, triple, quadruple your income. One day I was saying that and somebody said, "Did you do it yourself?" and I'm laughing. I did laugh. That was in a seminar before the pandemic. I wasn't doing Zoom then. I was doing seminars in Vaughan, in Ontario. And I said, yes, I did. And I'm going to give you an example of what I did a little later. But you need to understand the mind. And that is what's missing. School should teach us that, but they don't. You see, to understand the mind, we need a picture to work with. We think in images. If I say your car, you can see it right now. We see it on the screen of our mind. Even with your eyes open, your car is not in front of you, but you can tell. Your fridge in your kitchen, right away, you're in the kitchen, you see the fridge right now, wherever you are. If I say, what does the brain look like? You have a picture of the brain. If I say, what does the mind look like? There's no picture. Where there's no picture to understand a concept, there's confusion. We don't understand how it works. We don't see it. We don't see it because we are visual. We think in images. Now, Dr. Thurman Fleet, a chiropractor, back in 1934, he said, we're not healing people because we're not healing them holistically. We just fix the effect, we fix the wound, but it comes back. The mind is what we need to understand because it's the mind that controls the body. The body is the instrument of the mind, which is the mind that heals the body. The body just accepts whatever is going on. He said we need a picture to work with, and this is what he did. Now, I was saying that earlier, I did the same presentation today, and I was saying, the first time I saw that, I thought, well, that looks like a joke. We're saying this is a powerful little caricature, and indeed it is. Once we go through 4, 5, 6 slides, you will see that this actually is genius. Dr. Fleet said, let the top circle represent the mind, and the bottom circle represent the body. The half, or the top part of the upper circle, is the conscious mind. We will let that represent the subconscious. And of course, this is the body. Now, Bob Proctor has been studying this for the longest time, and he says this is the most valuable lesson he's ever learned. And I have to agree, because once I thought this was a joke at the beginning, but once I started to understand exactly what this is teaching me, as we will see in the next couple of slides, I thought, that's right. This is genius. So here we are, conscious, subconscious, and the body. This is a representation of you, of me, of anybody. Conscious mind is the thinking mind. That's what we use in school. We pile the books up here. It's our educated mind. It's our intellect. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, is the emotional mind. Now, we're going to see why that is, but let's take a look at the conscious mind. Conscious mind can choose ideas, can accept or reject an idea. I'll be showing you this drawing in a couple of different ways, 4 or 5 slides, and you can accept or reject the idea. We don't have to accept. We can accept or reject. But if you can do that, you can also originate ideas. You take a couple of thoughts you put together and you bring an idea forth. The subconscious mind cannot do that. The subconscious mind can only accept what you impress upon it, cannot reject. But what's important, very important with the subconscious mind, is it cannot determine what's real and what's imagined. Absolutely cannot. Cannot determine what's now and what's the past. Something happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, last week. The subconscious mind looks at it as it's happening now. I'll give you an example. Let's say, hopefully it never happened to you, but let's say somebody really made you upset, angry, hurt you in a certain way. said something, did not do something that you were somebody really upset you. It may have happened last week or 5 years ago. If you close your mind, it works even better. You really think of that person, if you think, and it had to have been something that really upset you. You start feeling all these feelings on your body. I mean, feeling is the language of the body. Thought is the language of the mind. You start feeling it. And you know it's not happening now. Consciously, you know. Your subconscious mind is the emotional part of the mind. Subconscious mind doesn't know if it's now or 10 years ago. You may be watching a movie and you're crying. Movie is very sad. Somebody says, "Hey, what's going on with you?" And you say, "Oh, it's so sad. I mean, look at this is what's happening," and blah, blah, blah. And the person says to you, "You know, this is not real. You know, these are actors, right? They memorize their lines, they practice their body language, and they rehearsed, and now they're shooting a movie for your entertainment. The blood is not real, nobody's dying, nobody's getting hurt." And you listen to the person, you say, "Oh yeah, you're right. The person leaves. You continue on with your movie. 5 minutes later, another scene, and you start crying again. You forgot that you're watching a movie. You're subconsciously drawn within, you're part of the movie. Subconscious mind doesn't know if it's real or imagined. There's many other examples we can give, but let's carry on. Now, we're talking about growth, we're talking about business, we're talking about money, we're talking about all these things. We're talking about improvement. We're talking about growth. But there are two things you need to know to achieve your goals. You need to know where you are. That's where you start. You got to know where you are first. But you also need to know where you're going. That's the star you're shooting for. That's the goal there. This is what I want. If you look at most people, if you ask, are you driving the car that you want to be driving? The answer is probably no, most of the time. And they already know exactly what they want to be driving. They already can tell you, this is not the neighborhood or the house I want to live in. I know what I want. They can tell you, they walk into a plane, they'd rather turn left than turn right when they walk into the plane. They can see it. It's a picture in your mind. We have all the knowledge. We have all kinds of potential. Why is it so difficult? Why are so many people stuck? When I first studied this, I thought, well, a lot of people don't have goals, and that's why the things are not happening. But the more I studied that, I realized that was not the answer. I was wrong. Because it is said, statistics over decades have been showing us about 13% of people have goals, but only 3% of people have written goals. That's why I was asking you to write down a goal earlier, because writing causes thinking. There's a correlation that goes straight to the brain. And when you write something, we believe we write and then we see what's on the paper. But we see in our mind before we can write. Otherwise, we can't write anything. We have to see the letter to trace the letter, the name to write down the name. We see it first on the screen of our mind. So I thought people didn't have goals. But if you ask questions, they will tell you, oh, no, this is not what I want. That's what I want. And most people you ask, what are your goals? They will say, as I used to, if I was asked 20 years ago, somebody asked me, what are your goals? If they did, I would say, what do you mean? I'm not sure I understand. And the large majority of people will respond like that. If we believe the stats, 13% are talking about goals. And within the 13, there's 3% who write it down. So the answer is not there. The answer is not lack of goals. The answer is right where we are. The answer is right there where you are. And the answer is what we call a paradigm. A paradigm is what's blocking you. A paradigm is we just saw a stick person, and that's where the paradigm is in the subconscious mind. We go to the start. This is a baby showing up first day, making his debut on planet Earth. And now the baby doesn't have any consciousness. The baby doesn't know I'm here, what's going on. The baby doesn't know that he or she doesn't know. But the subconscious mind is there because the mind is there. That it's a human being. Now, anything that goes on around that child, that baby, information, news, ideas, beliefs, values, you name it. Everything that goes on around the child is dumped into the subconscious mind. I say dumped because that's exactly what's going on. And that is what we We call it paradigm. It forms a paradigm subconsciously. We have no idea how this is happening. I'll give you an example. Who teaches a baby to speak? Around 2 years old, most babies are speaking. They're communicating with you. Who taught you to speak your first language? It's the environment. You were just absorbing. You were not conscious that you were doing that. You start talking at 2, you 3, 4, 5. You're not even conscious what's going on, how you got all this in here. Your parents didn't know. Parents, most of the time, they don't know. You see, your paradigm is your conditioning. You're going to believe what was going on around you. Nobody had to teach you that. You're going to pick up on the honesty and dishonesty around you. You're going to adopt the ideas that are being shared, the ideas about money. And in most cases, you will hear people will tell you money doesn't grow on trees, money is hard to get, money is hard, work is hard, you have to work hard to get money, the boss is not a whatever. You see, and we start believing that. We don't even have to make conscious attention to this. It's just there. We buy into the idea of the people that are raising us. Your beliefs about religion, your beliefs about people looking like you, what you believe about them. You see, the child is in the house. The child is growing up, 2 years old, 4 weeks old, 6 months old. The parents are arguing about money. And that's what the child will understand about money without paying attention. The parents are not aware that what they're doing in front of the child. They are damaging the subconscious, they are damaging the self-image of this child. The self-confidence is there. We talk about the neighbors. Oh, these neighbors are bad or whatever we say about them. And when we get out of the house, hi, how are you? And you see that honesty and the dishonesty is picked up. And you know what? You will find we'll show that here. You will find sometimes a parent saying to a child, can't you be more like your sister? Can't you be more like your brother? What the parent is thinking, is saying to the child is, look, they're giving you a good example here. Look at how they behave at the table. Look at the grades they are bringing home. You as a child, if you're hearing that, that's not what you're hearing. You're hearing, I'm not good enough. And you believe that. It's the authority talking to you. It's your parents. It's the people raising you. And you believe it. There's no reason not to. And that's how you create the self-image that is very low, a self-esteem that doesn't work. And you see people in their 40s, 50s, 60s still believing they are not good enough. Look around. You will see the truth about this. Self-image. You see, we really are the product of someone else's habitual way of thinking. The paradigm was created not because we wanted it, but it's because it's the environment. It literally controls the lives of most people most of the time. Why the lives? Because our thinking is all about, life is all about our thinking. Whatever we think, we believe. If we believe, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. Now, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the mind once stretched by a new idea never returns to its original dimensions. Once you change your paradigm, you never go back to the nonsense that you've originated, you didn't originate, that you've inherited. Not because parents are bad. They are not aware of what they are doing. They are not aware. They got that from their parents, who got that from their parents, and when we get it, we pass that on to our kids. Because we don't know. I'm showing you. I'm sharing with you what I've learned. I used to say, well, I learned that too late in life. It's not true. It's never too late. I was able to sit with my daughters and told them, they were adults, and tell them what kind of nonsense we put in their heads, so they don't do that to their children. You see? Changing your paradigm means really rewriting those scripts that had been written for us without your permission. You were given all these ideas. Perhaps you are one of the exceptions. There are very few people who have the right understanding, the right beliefs, the right understanding of life, of who they are. They got the right information when they were in their formative years. Very few people. The majority, I will say over 90%, over 95% of people grew up with bad scripts. They speak from people who loved them because they didn't know what they were doing. Changing your paradigms means you just look at what's going on. You look at your results. It will tell you where your paradigm is programmed. You look at your habits. You start changing that. And we have a process to change that. Everything changes when you change your paradigm. Your ability to earn money, what you think about yourself, the way you conduct yourself in business, in life, at home, everywhere. Self-image is the larger part of the paradigm. The self-image is a perception of who and what you are. We have two images, an inner and an outer image. You can be fully dressed like $1 million. You walk into a room full of strangers. Most people will start looking for a familiar face, and then they will just stick to that person. Very few people, you will have one or two people walking in and shaking hands everywhere. Hi, how are you? And they introduce themselves. Very few people do that. They have a very healthy self-image. They have a good perception of themselves. You could say they are very self-reliant. They are self-confident. All this is captured in your self-image. You are always, you'll have your results as a reflection of that image that you hold internally. Two images, inner and outer, but it's your inner image that dictates your behavior. Look at your results, you will know what's going on inside. As outside, so is inside. Your self-image controls your behavior. Here's your paradigm again. Very important, you can never outperform your self-image. Your self-image is like that ceiling that you hit all the time. You can improve it, but you cannot outperform it. You will always be wherever it is, but you are responsible to improve it if that's what you want to do. If you want improvement in your life, if you want quantum leaps, and this is not an exaggeration, we tell the truth here. Your self-image was handed over to you. It wasn't your responsibility. Your paradigm was written for you. It wasn't your responsibility. But if you want to change your life, it's your responsibility. Because now you know it's your responsibility to change it. Now, I was saying how this happened for me. And that since 2006, I first met Bob Proctor in 2006. I didn't know where I was going. I was in a job that I loved, but around at the end, close to the complete end of 2005, I was not feeling it. No love, no motivation. It's just nothing was really working. I was dragging my feet into work. That was very, very uncharacteristic of me. So I talked to somebody who I respected, an older gentleman at work, and said, "You need to talk to Bob." And I thought Bob was somebody in the building. Campbell Soup, it's a big building, a lot of people. And I said, "Who's Bob? Where's Bob?" He said, "Bob Proctor." I said, "I've heard the name, but who's that?" And I was introduced and had a conversation. At the time, you could get an audience with Bob easily, but over the years, his company grew and he was not very accessible. But anyway, I was talking to Bob, and he says he has this habit of saying, "What do you want?" His way of asking the question, "What do you really, really want?" And I said, "I don't know." He said, "What's your goal?" I said, "What do you mean?" And in fact, that's where I was. "What do you mean?" I said, "I have objectives at work." He said, No. What is your goal?" I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Why do you get out of bed every morning?" I say, "To go to work." He says, "If this is the reason, just go back to work, go back to sleep." I was thinking, what is that guy smoking? And, but you know what? Long story short, I started really paying attention to what he was saying. And I said, I want 5 rental properties. With our own, it was 6 altogether. I didn't believe that. I just remembered in 2001, I was talking to a few people. We were kind of trying to see if we were going to be investing in real estate. And then we forgot all about it. Bob said, "You believe you're going to achieve that?" I said, "Yeah, maybe." And by August of 2008, 2 years and 2 months, I had my 6 altogether, 6 properties. That gave me time and money freedom. Now, how did I do that? In the process of acquiring these properties, I was growing. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was studying me. I was following my mentor. But the one thing is, I was coachable. He said, if you're not coachable, don't bother, because you're not going to do what's required. So I thought, well, do I continue like this or do I want better? And I had to believe. I couldn't believe that I could do this. He said, let me tell you what my mentor, my first mentor, told me in 1961, Raymond Stanford. I mean, the name is irrelevant, but that was the name of his mentor. He said, Ray told me, Bob, you don't believe what I'm telling you, that you can have anything you want. He said, of course I couldn't believe that. I was a loser. I was just going nowhere. He said, he looked me square in the eye and said, believe in my belief in you. You have infinite potential, same as I do. It's not because I have more money than you that you can't do what I do. I just accepted the idea. And he said he believed in that person's belief. And that's what he gave me in 2006. He says, belief is my belief in you. You know, he was so adamant. I accepted the idea. I just accepted the idea like that. I started working on my inner image, my self-image. I didn't know that's what I was doing. I was just studying me based on the lesson that I was getting. But you know, I followed directions. I followed direction and I changed my paradigm in my results. How I did all this, Bob didn't tell me how to get those properties. He said, you don't believe it. I said, I don't have the money to invest in real estate, Bob. How am I going to do that? I said, I want to, but he said, what do you need the money for? Again, I'm thinking, is this guy serious? He said, you don't need any money. You have not made the decision yet. Once you make the decision, it has to be a committed decision. You will start seeing, you'll find the money, the deals, the people who will help you, everything. He says, everybody has all kinds of opportunities in front of them. We are not aware. We are just brought down by the news, by the lack of motivation, lack of belief in ourselves, and we don't do it. That's why very few people are very successful. And I bought into the idea. I accepted the idea. What I did is this. I put together a mastermind group. I didn't even know the concept. I was doing, based on what I was learning, I was getting ideas on the fly, if you will, as I was putting in practice. And the real estate agent that was helping me, if you are in the Toronto area, you will probably know of Rockstar Real Estate. His name is Nick Carranza. He had to be an investor. The lawyer, real estate lawyer, had to be an investor. That was my condition. The home inspector had to be, and everybody on my team had to be a real estate investor. Why? Because I wanted all of us to be speaking the same language. No time wasted. No, I would never have thought of doing something like that before. But you start getting ideas without even looking for them. Your awareness starts to grow. That's the deal. Change your paradigms, change your results. Let's take a look one more time, last time maybe, at the stick person here. You have the conscious, subconscious, and the body. Now we can all see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. These are our senses. These are the tools that we have to communicate with the outside world. But you know what? We hear the news and we allow the news to play on our mood, to play on our behavior, and we get defeated and we say, well, we can't do this, we can't do that. We are programmed to go by our senses. It's a mistake. Our senses are there to keep us out of trouble, out of danger. We have better than this. Let me do the whole thing first. Results. You see the conscious mind thoughts, part of the knowing, subconscious mind, the emotional part of the mind, part of feeling, and part of the doing. And when we have a thought that we stop on, that we want to implement, we have a feeling attached to that thought, and that gives us a vibration. Our body goes into a certain vibration that allows us to move into action. And that action that we take will produce our results. If you want to get technical, our action produces a reaction from the marketplace, from people, from the environment, from wherever, and the action-reaction produce our results. And our results is always going to be a reflection of our paradigm, because the action we take is always going to how we vibrate, the vibration of our body based on the feelings from the paradigm. I hope this is not too confusing if you've never been exposed to this. I mean, again, I don't expect you to remember all of this, but the concept is here in front of you. The reason I wanted to bring this here is we go by our senses. We are very limited. We have 6 intellectual factors, higher faculties. We have intuition, memory, reason, the will, imagination, and perception. I have a little dog at home. The dog can hear, see, smell, taste, touch. The dog has 5 senses. No other creature alive has the intellectual factors that we have. These are higher faculties. We have intuition. Intuition is very powerful. You're standing somewhere in a mall or wherever, and you're looking at whatever it is. All of a sudden, you find yourself get uncomfortable, and you don't know why. There's a feeling of discomfort. You turn around, and sure enough, somebody is looking at you, and they look away. How do you feel that energy? Oh, intuition. We have memory. We go back into our memory and we learn the lesson that we've learned. And if we don't repeat them, these lessons become experience. These experiences become our teachers. Reason gives us the ability to think. Thought is the most potent form of energy. Thought is the most potent form of energy. Thought travels like there is no measure. And the will gives us the ability to focus. The power to focus is a big deal. While we're going fast over that, imagination. Einstein said imagination is the preview of life's coming attraction. Yes, that's how he put it. I think the imagination is the workshop of the future. We imagine something, the goal, or the star we shoot for, and we see it, we bring it to the present, we work on it, and here it is. Imagination is very powerful. Our perception is our point of view. Our perception is how we view the world. 2 people looking at the same thing will not always have the same thought or will perceive the same way, if you will, the interpretation. Our perception is our point of view. 2 people looking at the same thing, what I mean is one may see a difficulty, the other one may see a very great opportunity. And they will be both right. They are both right based on their perception, based on their paradigm, based on their condition, if that makes sense. You see, school doesn't teach us these six higher faculties that we have. We know them as words, but have we learned to use them? I don't think many people have. And this can be a game changer. If you look only at your senses and what you hear, smell, if you let that affect your behavior, if you watch the news, you're under attack today. Everything in the world is going down the drain. But it's not true. It's not true. This is why you have to have goals. Because in the absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until ultimately we become enslaved by it. Many years ago when I first saw that, this comes from a book called Strangers in a Strange Land, published in 1960 by this gentleman, Robert Heinlein. When I first saw that many years ago, I had no clue what that meant. What is this performing daily trivia? But that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing at the time. You just go about your day doing the same thing every day, not thinking. We're not thinking. I was sleepwalking. I know I had to go to work and I was doing my job, getting home, but no growth, no thought of anything. Daily trivia. Because I didn't have any goals. Goals are important. Goals allow you to see where you're going and you keep focusing. You keep your focus and you get there if your paradigm is in the right place. If your paradigm is in the right place. You see, we'll take a look at the areas of your lives where your paradigm has an enormous influence over. In fact, your paradigm has an enormous influence over all of your life. But let's take a look at a few things. Perception. Remember, we were saying 2 people looking at the same thing, one could see a difficulty, the other one an opportunity. Well, our perception is our point of view. Our paradigm dictates how we view the world, our perception, your use of time. We all get the same amount of time. We all get 24 hours. We get all there is. Some people will tell you, I don't have time. When you look at what they're doing, you don't understand. You have people who will tell you, I don't have time to do this, whatever this is, which is very important for them to get to where they want to be. But you'll see them spending 2-3 hours in front of the TV every night. There's the series that they cannot miss. You see, we give importance to whatever we are programmed to do, to give to use of time. Your paradigm is influencing your creativity. You know that everybody is creative. We hear people say, you know, artists are creative, songwriters are creative. You know, we are not creative. We do mechanical things. Everybody's creative. We are not taught how to just use those creativities, how to develop our creativity. And if you're not creative, how are you going to be effective? Your paradigm affects your effectiveness. And of course, your productivity, your effectiveness, lack of activity, you're not going to be productive. Your paradigm affects your logic. You know, logic is an interesting thing. Your logic, like your self-image, is a ceiling that you hit like this. If we keep being logical, we have no progress. Do you think the Wright brothers, as an example, let their logic keep them from trying to fly? They built a little something and they could take it off the ground. It stayed up there for 14 minutes. It is reported, that is 1903, around there. It's reported that people said, look at these boys, they're going to kill themselves. Don't they see it's not going to work? It's only gotten there 14 minutes and it crashed. That's not what their perception was different. They said, not only did we make it take off, we kept it up there for 14 seconds. It was a victory for them, perception. And look at what we are doing today. Today you have airplanes lifting up with a lift-off weight of 400 tons. 400 tons. And those things lift up like a feather. Why? The law of gravity says if we let it go anything heavier than air, it's going to go attracted to the center of the earth. We say down. It's magnetic. How do we keep that plane in the air? Creativity. We're using the law of gravity to keep it in the air. Illogical. Don't let logic stop you. Try the illogical. You see, at the end of the day, your paradigm blocks you. Your paradigm influences your ability to earn money, to grow your business, to be more successful. When you have your paradigm the way that it is, and you try to move your perception here, your effectiveness there, you're boxed in. You're boxed in. When you start understanding how the paradigm works, the wall falls down. But nothing has changed yet. You're aware. You have an awareness of what's going on, what's holding me back. You have to change your paradigm to get it going. You see, when we try to change habits, it comes back. Your habits come back. There's a saying, old habits die hard, and it's very true. Old habits do come back. When you take your paradigm into consideration, you're not trying to change the effect. You're not trying to change the results like this. You go to the cause of the problem. What is dragging me? What is getting me to do the things that we do? You go to the cause, you go to the source of the problem. That's your paradigm. The change is huge. And the change is huge and permanent. The change is permanent. Like Ralph Waldo Emerson was saying, your mind doesn't go back. It's all about the mind. He said it doesn't go back. It's stretched to a different dimension. It doesn't go back. It cannot go back. You see, we say use of time. We all get all the time there is. How would your life change if you could maximize the use of your time? Your perception. You know, when you look at something, you have an idea of what that something is. When you change the way you look at something, your idea of that thing changes. Your perception can change. Your perception can change for the better if you're paying attention. Your paradigm is holding you back, but when you start understanding that, you can do much better. You don't need more training to get your business going. You need to understand what's going on in here. You already know what to do and how. If you're not getting your results, if your way is not working, why don't you try ours? Why don't you try the way of the paradigm? Your ability to earn money is dictated by your paradigm. And I'm going to say this is a black and white deal. It doesn't matter how hard you work. In fact, working harder takes you to burn out. Most of the time we're working harder at something that's not working. That's why we keep pushing. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in. If the paradigm doesn't change, ultimately the results will remain the same. Most of the time. I'm not saying 100%. 99% you can change. Take a look around. Don't take my word for it. I'm showing you what I know is real. And if you really pay attention, you take a look at yourself. If your paradigm is in the right place, take a look around. You will see this is what's going on. Because results never lie. Your results always tell the truth. We can sometimes try to explain this. It's because of that, it's the weather, it's the circumstance, it's the government. Our results always tell the truth. It gets us to look in ourselves in the mirror. You look at your results, you know exactly where your paradigm is. Dennis Waitley said it's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. Here's the self-image again. It's not who you are that's holding you back. It's who you think you're not. You have infinite potential. We are God's highest form of creation. We have infinite potential. We went to the moon. We take this and we're talking to somebody in Australia. I'm here in Toronto. And we're looking at them having a drink together. I mean, what is it that we can't do today? It's who you think you're not. Let me ask you a question. What do you think of yourself? Understanding your paradigms. What do you think of yourself? Where's your potential? Could you do better? A little? A lot? My bet is we can all do a lot. We can all do a lot more. I keep saying that, we are God's highest form of creation. We are infinite being. We have infinite potential. Infinite. There's perfection at the essence of who we are. We are not perfect beings. We mess up all the time, and we do this and we correct. But our essence, the essence of who we are, is perfect. We are created by something up there. I call it God. I call God God because I'm a believer. People call it the universe. People call it whatever. It doesn't matter what you call it. This is who created us. There's no mistake. There's no mistake. We understand that when paradigms stay in control, nothing changes. Pretty much nothing changes. Let me just give you a 2-minute clip. A couple of people, 6 people altogether, who talks about what we are doing together and how their paradigm is giving them the results they're getting. Just take a look. 2 minutes.
And so every year I'd say, well, I'm going to work a little harder and work a little harder. Like if I can make $50,000 a year more, I could do all kinds of things. And then at the end of the year, it's like, man, I miss the same old thing, 5,000, 10,000 up or down. It was like I was stuck in this income bracket. I thought, what's going on? Maybe it's the company.
My family was just going down the tubes. Really lost it one day, and I just snapped. And I started yelling, if you're there, I need help. Like, this is the time. Let me know.
My company has increased exponentially.
Chris works with us
now.
now.
A lot to TAR just to give me the confidence to even hire somebody.
It's unbelievable what's happened and what can happen ahead.
At that time, I was at 70 or 80,000.
Phenomenal results.
And we're on target to hit over $500,000 in sales this year.
I have restructured the whole company, brought in a business partner, given away my responsibilities in the company, hired in sales reps. Now I am attracting more people who want to take my company in different divisions that I wasn't even really contemplating. I've written the book. I'm in the process of how do I get it out there publishing. I'm scared to death, but I'm doing it.
I actually want to do what I was afraid of. I would have never dreamt that I would walk into the office of a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company and not be terrified and actually be longing to meet with them.
Everything has changed. So I've learned that I really do have infinite potential.
It's limitless.
And as a result, magical things have happened beyond my expectations.
If I can use a dash word, it would be life-changing.
Life-changing.
Phenomenal growth, gift. Going through this course, somebody handed you almost your instruction package to say, here, go through this. Here are the instructions to be who you were meant to be.
Meant to be.
Knowing what I know now, if I even knew that then, I probably would have paid double. Make the decision and do it. Period. There's no, like, what are you waiting for?
This is what we're talking about. It's called thinking into results. Bob Proctor designed this to change paradigms. It's called thinking into results. And You know, Chris, before we go further, Chris Dameron, the guy who was talking about saying he would have paid double, Chris got so much, his results were so phenomenal. He had a small he was a contractor, small contractor doing renovations in the Cambridge area in Ontario. He was doing 85 a year. He went $500,000. He sold his company and came to work with Procter Gallagher. I mean, I don't work for Procter Gallagher Institute. I'm a student of Bob Proctor. I work with Procter Gallagher. And he left his company, he sold it, and now he's working with us. He's one of perhaps the best students we've had. Anyway, we'll take one last look at the stick person. School gave us valuable knowledge. Of course, we have all kinds of goodies there. We pile the books and we have the knowledge. School doesn't know about paradigms. We should teach that in school. We should teach that in school. When we leave school, university, we will be getting results like there's no tomorrow, but we are not aware. You see, most of the time we don't do what we frequently already know how to do. Knowledge, results, happens almost always. You see, when that happens, we have all kinds of knowledge, but if the results are inferior, we are frustrated. We're frustrated. You see, we pile the books up there. Some people have PhDs, double PhDs. I know a couple in Toronto of people who one has a PhD, the other one has a double PhD. Both of them, no relationship, no meaningful relationship. They have no money. They can't hold a job. It's crazy. These people are brilliant. What's going on? It's their paradigm. Not everybody is in their situation, but unfortunately, they came from a place where the paradigm was really faulty. It's very sad. Now, you have all this knowledge, and this is your result. Your result is going to go according to your paradigm. I believe you see that now. You can tell. And if you want different results, if your way is not working, try our way. Change your paradigms. You will get the results that you're looking for. Then all this will be incongruent. Your knowledge, your ability to do it, and your results. It's all going to be there. Your goals are there. It's almost a guarantee, because once you change what's controlling you, your thoughts you start thinking in a different way. Your action is different. Your attitude changes. The way you show up, the way you do things, it's all different. And your results start going up and up and up. That's how you bridge the gap that we were talking about, knowing and doing. Your knowing is here, your doing start to, because of who you become. You're here because who you are. You want to get here, up there, on the same frequency of your goals. You have to become that person. And it's already inside. It's already here. You don't have to go get it anywhere else. You already have it. You just have to get your potential up and out. It's a beautiful thing. Can you see now? Can you see how paradigms have a control over your life? Your income, your health is dictated by your paradigm. The quality of your relationships. If you don't have health, if you don't have quality relationships, you don't have a job, you don't have a business, because how do you get results? Everything in your life changes when you change your paradigm. You want to do it different? You have to make a decision. You have to make a decision to change what you're doing into results. Isn't it time? I say it's time to transform your dreams into reality. Your goals into achievement, and your results, your thinking into results. It's time. And this is the program that's going to do it. This is what Bob Proctor has worked for 50 years. And this is the culmination of his knowledge put in together in a package. It's organized information. It's intelligently directed. You can't fail. William Hill in Think and Grow Rich said, successful people make decisions quickly and firmly because they know what they want. They know what they want, they know where they're going. And successful people make decisions slowly and they change them often. They are ambivalent. Are we going to go there? Well, I don't know. Well, we may go, we may not go. We don't know. We are not making decisions. 6 months later, we are still talking about it. I'm not talking about thinking into results. We're still talking about what we are supposed to be doing. Ambivalent people, they don't make decisions. They state preferences and then they don't do it. They don't do it. I say refuse to lower your standards to meet your income. You see, these days, money is not coming enough to meet the economy, the what's going on outside, because everything, and you look around, the mortgages are up because of the interest rate. The groceries, I mean, it's been talked about every day. Grocery prices, everything. Gas at the pump, everything. But you want to refuse to lower your standard to meet your income. You want to take your income up to meet your standards of living. The one way you know how to do that for sure is to look into your paradigms, look into your results, and make the shift. Things just start happening. You don't have to work harder. Indeed, working harder is a mistake. It's a big mistake. You start creating your own economy. You're actually doing it already, but what's your economy looking like? Not the economy out there, your own economy. What's your economy looking like? You create it the way you want to achieve your goals. You see, I said earlier today, I added that because I thought it was a little funny, but so real. Everybody wants to go to heaven, potentially. We say that, but no one wants to die to go there. No one wants to die to go there, but we want heaven, but we don't want to do what it takes to get there. Same thing in business, same thing in life. We want this, but we don't do what's required. But most of the time we don't know why it's not happening. But now you know. Now you know, I'm showing you. And you can tell if it's the truth or not. I am sure you understand that it is the truth. It's the truth. You see? And that's what we mentioned at the beginning of this presentation. We said we are going to show you, we're going to cover how to move from the 80% to the 20% or 5%. Even if you're in the 15%, you're winning. Imagine shifting your paradigm to get you to the 5%. That's the top bucket. We look at how to close the knowing and doing gap by changing your paradigm. By the way, to move into the 5%, it's a big question of mindset. You have the strategies, you know what to do and how, but you're not doing it. You're not doing it in a certain way that gets results. That's a mindset shift. You close the gap, knowing and doing gap, you shift your paradigm. And you become the person you need to become to crush your results by changing your self-image. One way or another, they all go back to paradigms. Paradigm is the condition you have to look into and start changing. Buckminster Fuller, a thinker, an architect, 20th century American, he said, never change things by fighting the existing reality. You know what you resist persists. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. You don't force your paradigm. You leave it to die out of nourishment. You create a new one. And we show you how to do that. Thinking into results is the way to do that. And it's guaranteed. But you have to follow the instructions. You have to follow the rules almost. You see? It's if you want to change your results. The question is, do you really know what you want? What do you want? What is your goal? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in 6 months, in a year from now? You know, when you start working into results, thinking into results, in 6 months from now, you will need a telescope to see where you left off and where you are in 6 months. That's a promise. Is your goal written down now? You want to understand, if you look around, most people are an extra in their own movie. Your movie is your life. You want to be the star in your movie. You want to be the director. You want to write the lines. You want to direct the movie. It's all about you. I said at the beginning, just think of you for the hour. I think we're almost at an hour now. Just think of you and write down a goal. Decide what you want. Decide where you want to be, what you want to do. It doesn't matter what you're doing today. You stay in the same industry, you're going to move further ahead. You will leave the industry behind. You will need a telescope to look back because it's already in here. The answer is not out there in the marketplace, in the economy. It's inside. It's inside. Questions? You can ask me questions by writing to me, by writing me an email, by booking a call in my calendar. You can visit my website as well. We'll keep in touch. I would love to keep in touch and see where you are, where you're going. Let me know. how this has helped you, if it has helped you. Let me know if this makes sense. And this will help me improve my presentation, help people better. It's all about give and take. It's all about giving first and then getting. That's what I believe. I wish you well. And I want to ask you, I would love for you to contact me and let's open a conversation. Thank you. So I'm not sure whether we can participate in a conversation. I have never done this kind of live. And if not, I wish you well and bid you good night. I will leave this here for a few seconds more so you can contact me. Thank you.